Hey guys, what's going on? Tom Kelly, BeeSafe Network here. Obviously, most of you guys know that. I'm here to post yesterday's conference call. Today is Friday the 18th. I'll be posting Thursday the 17th conference call up now. So if you weren't there, let me review a couple things we went over. We started off the call by talking about some real basic general questions, talking about filling tanks, some mix rates, some application stuff, some basic things. Then we went on to talk about what the next phase in our marketing planning process was. So over the last couple of weeks, we talked about building your customer count, building and projecting what your cancels are going to be, figuring out how many sales you need to make, and talking about budgeting revenue and cash flow and all that stuff. Now, since we know what our sales goal is, we need to figure out where they're going to come from. So we put together our marketing plan based on lots of different sources. So it was a pretty good call. Started off with 20 or so, 25 people on it, and at one point I looked down and there was more than 40. So good call. Next week we'll work on some more marketing, and any questions you guys have in the meantime, give us a call here at the office, send in an email. Those questions really help kind of build what the conference calls revolve around. So hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. What's up, everybody? Hey, what's going on? Hey, happy Thursday. I'm glad everybody could jump on the call today. We'll give a couple more minutes. We've got our attendance has been really, really good the last couple of weeks. Well, last week I was in Canada, so I don't even know how many of you guys were on the call. I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, which I'm apt to do on occasion, and maybe some of you have noticed that. Some of you have actually called it out on occasion. But we've got 27 people on the call today, and it's jumping up, getting more and more. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm doing this through my speakers as opposed to dialing in because the volume was not good on the last recorded one. So let me know if you can hear me. As always, that question panel over there in your go-to meeting or go-to webinar thing, you can feel free to type stuff in, and usually, and as always, people like to type in foul things, and they already are. So can everybody hear me okay? All right. Great. Yep. Okay. I'm very happy to see Christy on the call. Christy, how are you? It's good to have you on our call. We haven't had you on in a while. We're doing this a little bit different this year because we have so many people on the call, so we're not able to actually like interact with each other, and it's weird because I have to sit here and talk for an hour as opposed to everybody else talking. So the best way to do it is to type into the console there any questions or comments or profanity, as some people are already demonstrating. So yeah, you're welcome, Christy. Christy Garrison, for those of you who don't know her, is one of our applicators, member of the network down in South Carolina, who was real. I think, Christy, you were actually our very first. You might have been the very first dealer we've ever had. You came to that first training along with a couple other people, and we'll be eternally grateful to you guys because we were that first training was not quite as good as it is now. We're a lot better at it now. That first one was a little bit made up and on the fly. So thank you, Christy. I'm glad you're here. No, you wouldn't be getting feedback. It's in fact, the reason why we do it this way is I have to mute everybody because if all of a sudden, and we're up to quite a few people on the line, if everybody was talking at once, it wouldn't come off too good. So we kind of have to use a different program where everybody is muted, and I'm the only one who gets to talk, and everybody types questions in, and I answer them. And some people think it's funny to type some things that are inappropriate for me to mention. But maybe someday I will. So anyways, thanks for getting on the call. We're going to cover a couple things today. Over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, we've been kind of tracking a planning process from renewals to budgeting, to revenue per customer, to trying to determine what our sales goal was going to be. And we're going to build a marketing plan today based on those projections that we've made over the last month or so. But first, I've kind of gotten in the habit of I get so many emails from you guys, and they're always really good questions. And every once in a while, I get one particular email that is really good. And I got one from a newer member of the network. Let me see if he's on here. I don't want to call him out because I didn't ask him if I could do this. Let's see. I don't see him. So he's basically a newer company too, newly into lawn care. He's run a landscaping business, but he's newly into doing the lawn care thing. And sometimes I'm reminded that the old saying, "There's no such thing as a stupid question." Well, for a lot of us who've been in the business for a really long time, some of these questions are things that we dealt with, in some cases 20 years ago, but in some cases with people who are only getting into the fertilization or the lawn care service industry or part of it. Many of you have been working doing maintenance and construction and have very well-established companies that have been around for a long time, but sometimes you bring on a new service and have to ask new type questions. So this guy sent me an email with about a dozen questions on it. I'm going to go over them real fast. And I know you guys are busy too, so I don't want to make this any longer than an hour. Probably the shorter the better, outside of any particular questions you guys would like to have answered. And as I said, feel free to type them in anytime as we go. But I think it's important to knock down some of these questions. I'm reading questions as I speak here. There's lots of them. Stand by 1 second. Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna run through some of these questions. Some of them are going to be kind of boring to some of you guys. Some of them, that you might get some valuable information from. Some of them might be good for you. So they're very basic questions as he gets his lawn care set up, ready to go, and he asks, something like this: is there any unique way to get 200 gallons of water other than just turning on the hose? And then he typed LOL. He's a young guy. And I'm going to keep looking to see if he jumps on, and he hasn't yet. So if you happen to jump on, go ahead and type in your in the question console. But that's a good question, and so a lot of different guys have come up with different ways to pump water. We used to have a giant bulk tank that we run. I think it was a 1,500 gallon bulk tank, and we just have the garden hose running in it all day long and fill it up. And as trucks would come in at the end of the day, we would fill them up through that bulk tank using a pool pump. And I've seen some of you guys' setups too, and they're pretty good. So that's one of the ways we do it. A bulk tank in your warehouse is always important. What's some basic numbers I can use to estimate water and labor cost per square foot for my numbers? Without past numbers, this is the only area, and I'm not sure how to build it into the cost of the plan. I mentioned this, and you've heard me say this before. I don't think you want to get too hung up on trying to figure out all of these costs in your price list. The best thing to do is use a basic price list, stick with it, and don't get away from it. Don't get hung up on the cost of water, and don't get hung up on labor per 1,000 square feet, or travel time, or setup, or takedown, and all those other things that you guys oftentimes have to take into consideration when you're talking about construction or maintenance. I don't think it's necessary when you're dealing with this kind of service, because you just want to go off a price list and stick to it all the time. Here's a good one. Once I market and sell the jobs, what's the first thing that we should do? Meaning, should we do a pH test first? And I'll bring this up. You should always do a pH test with round one, because what you're going to need to do is upsell in most cases, lime to deal with pH. Your soil is going to be acidic in most situations, and you're going to want to upsell lime, and you can have a real good revenue stream going. It's definitely something that you can sell quite a bit of. Here's a good question that I could go on and on forever over, and I won't. But what plays the biggest role in us being successful from a results standpoint in the turf? That's a very rhetorical question, and one that I could probably write a book on, and I'll read it again. Any feedback from you guys is helpful too, but his question is, what plays the biggest role in us being successful from a results standpoint in the turf? And my answer to him right off the top was that, believe it or not, the products that you're using are probably the least important thing in being successful. Now, naturally, we've got great products. We've got, great options for everything you need to do. But the most successful thing the most important thing in order to be successful lies in your operations, is your ability to be on time with every application you do, your ability to communicate with your customers. You could really use, in a lot of cases, crappy products, and if your customer service was really, really good, you'd still maintain customers. So the way you set up your systems and your operations inside are so important. They're the most important thing in your success with the lawns. Now, naturally, your products are important, but as long as you can maintain a good relationship with your customers, you're on time with your applications, you offer service calls. Anytime a customer calls and has a question or a concern that you need to address, you address it professionally and quickly. Scheduling is so important. If somebody wants you out there on a Tuesday, make sure you're out there on a Tuesday. Your business is what's going to make you the most successful on your lawns, not the products, not necessarily the equipment that you're using to apply them. We used to call it the window dressing along with the application. Anybody can go out and do lawn care treatments. Now, we're going to be doing lawn care treatments that are different than everybody else, but not everybody can dress up that window as well as we used to be able to do it real good at Lawn Dog. And your customer service is the most important part. He asks, do I have a suggested style of pay for techs? And that's a great question. Does anybody have the desire to type anything in terms of how they pay their technicians? Because I know so many guys do it so many different ways, and I'll talk about how we used to do it at Lawn Dog. We used to pay guys a salary. We'd pay them a weekly salary. A new guy might make $500 or $600 a week, something like that. We'd give them their own route that they would have to take care of. They wouldn't be going to different neighborhoods or different lawns all the time. But we'd build in a real good bonus structure for them. We always wanted to take care of the people who worked real hard. And actually, I just thought of something right now. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of what's called a vitality curve. I think I read about it in a Jack Welch book or a business book or something. It's basically taking all of your employees and lumping them together. Take your top 10% and just pay them as well as you possibly can. Reward them for everything that they do. Take your bottom 10% and get rid of them, but be accepting of the fact that your middle 80% are the ones that are going to be kind of make the world go round. Those are the ones that are going to run your business, and you want to make sure that you take good care of them, not only in terms of pay, benefits, everything you can do to help your employees be happy is worth a lot. But in terms of pay structure, we always would pay a salary along with some production bonuses, and every time. We build parameters into it. If they did X amount of work, they'd get a bonus for X amount. If they took more cancels than sales, for instance, if their growth and their route went backwards, they would be eliminated from the bonus structure. For a couple of years, we had a plan going where your bonus increased every week as long as you were hitting your goals and your route was going forward, meaning it was growing. You might make $50 bonus one week. If you hit everything again the next week, you get $75. If you hit everything the next week, you get a $100 bonus. And it helped us, keep our top 10% real happy. It helped keep us on schedule in between applications, and it worked pretty well. But there's lots of different ways to do it. I used to do it with salary and bonus. Let me see if I've got a dozen questions here, and I'm already going long, so I don't want to get into to all of them. Let's see. Is there an average sales mark for the first season? I know this varies depending on the company. My answer to him there was, it has a lot to do with with how much money you've got. Your sales goal is going to be related to, at least in your first year, and some of you guys, if this is your first year, it depends on how much money you have to invest. I would say that a good sales goal for a startup would depend also on how many existing maintenance customers and things. But 500 sales would be a good one. You should try to make 500 sales, even with a limited budget. So I'm reading other questions here. I'm sorry, as I'm stuttering. Mike, I think that I was thinking of you when I asked that question, because I knew you were going to chime in, because I know that you were putting together a lot of time, energy, and effort in trying to reward your employees based on performance and kind of running their own small business. So, the performance bonus is really important. That's going to keep people happy. And Mike also mentions it helps with budgeting and trying to get those labor costs fixed. So it's definitely important. So let me take a look at some other ones here. Yeah, I could go on and on. I've already been going on for 20 minutes. So let's move on to our marketing plan. And I know some of you guys cringe a little bit when I start talking about numbers and budgeting and planning and all that kind of stuff, but you got to do it. Last week or 2 weeks ago when I broke out all the spreadsheets, and I think there was 30-something people on, they started dropping like flies. I immediately lost 5 people, right off the bat. So before I move on to that, anybody have any other questions? I'm fired up too, Frank. I'm really fired up. Okay. So listen, this is what we're going to do here. We're going to build a sales plan. We're going to do it in 20 minutes. We are literally going to build a sales and marketing plan. So who wants to suggest how many sales we should make? Somebody tell me. Anybody out there, what's your sales goal? By now you all have your sales goals in effect. You know how many sales you want to make. 1 billion? No, we're not going to make 1 billion sales. I got 350, I got 700, I got 450. Let's go with 500. Nobody said 500, but that's about the average. We're going to make 500 sales right now. Ready? 300 to 400. Hey, Tino, what's going on? I'm glad it looks like you're not with children in front of the computer today. That was funny last week. Tina Montone's kids were typing questions in, but they didn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, Dick's typing in here too. F you, Dick. Excuse my language, sorry. Okay, so we're going to make 500 sales. Ready? Right here. 500 sales. This is about, this worksheet right here is about all of the potential sources that you could use to make sales. They're all based on historical data too. So on a 500 sale budget, let's go right from the top. Referrals. The best way you're going to budget your referral sales is you're going to look at how many referrals you made last year. Hopefully you've got that historical data. On a 500 sale marketing plan, I'm going to guess that you've, unless it's your first year and you're really going at it hard, you're going to make 45 referral sales. The closing percent on referrals is going to be about 70%. Does everybody know what closing percent is? Closing percent or disposal percent is the number of leads versus the number of sales. So let's go ahead and do the math. That's 65 leads. You're going to get 65 referral leads. All I did was take 45 and divide it by 70%. So it's 65 times 70%, it's 45. With referrals, what you guys want to do is not just count on them. You need to implement a referral program. You need to make sure that you've got a handout or something. You need to have some sort of policy or system to get referrals. And what we used to do at Lawn Dog was we'd have a referral piece that basically said, you know, refer a friend and get, you know, $25, or refer a friend and get a free treatment. Whatever it is, what kind of offer that you want to come up with, that's up to you. Obviously, the more you give away, the more referrals you're going to get. Who is the company that gives away? I think it's DirecTV. They give away $100 cash for every referral that they get, and that's their main source of sales. So you know, you need to have a giveaway, and every piece of information that ever leaves your building, or that ever leaves your truck, or that ever leaves your office, or anytime you ever do anything, if you're sending statements, if you're leaving things at the house when you finished applications, make sure this referral piece is in there with the offer, and the referrals will come in like crazy. Reinstate. Am I boring everybody yet? Reinstate. Reinstate is getting in touch with customers that you've had in the past who canceled for one reason or the other. So most of the time when you take a canceled customer, when somebody cancels, they're going to say that they're moving, or, you know, they just can't afford it or something like that. Most of the time they're not actually moving. They're just afraid to tell you that they can't afford it, or you know, there's obviously times when somebody's dissatisfied with the service. I mean, you're going to take, you know, at least 15% cancels every year. Those are probably one of your best sources to make new sales. So every time, if you've been in business for a long time, you've got lots of customers who've used your service and canceled again. We used to find that so many times we'd call customers back and they didn't actually want to cancel. They just wanted to skip for a little while. They wanted to skip a couple of treatments. They were going to be out of town, or, you know, they wanted to save some money. They weren't unhappy with the service. They wanted to, you know, just hold off for a while. So this is going to depend completely on the number of cancels that you've had in the past. With a 500 sale budget, I'm guessing, you know, let's say 200. You've had 200 cancels in the past. You're going to sell about 30% of those. We'll re-up. 60 sales. Closing percent of 30%. Pre-qual is the same thing as cancel, but we're talking about rejects. Pre-qual is just a fancy word for rejects. So any estimate you've ever done with anybody in the past and they decided not to use a service, you got to call them again. And this, you know, it's important to mention that any single every little bit of information that comes through your office, anytime, you need to track. You need a good database. You need a good operating software so that you know exactly, historical data is so important. Every estimate that you've ever done needs to be put in a marketing universe to be called again. So, you know, you can also build into here customers who've done other services with you in the past, whether it's maintenance or construction or any job or irrigation, any person that you've had some sort of contact with in the past. You can call them. You know, the federal do not call registry is going to say, I think it's a year. If they've requested an estimate or you've done an estimate with them, you've got about a year to call them. And most of the time you're going to fall into that because unless more than a year has passed. So you got to keep on it. But let's say we did, I don't know, 300. Should have 300 people in your database. Closing percent is going to be much less on this, 20%. So what I would do is basically re-telemarket them. Call them up and say, hey, we did an estimate for you in the past. We'd like to send you out a new estimate. Is that okay? And then follow up. 60 sales. 20% closing rate. I'm going to stop for a minute. Anybody have anything to add or any questions? I'm reading some of the questions. Okay. Direct mail. Direct mail is an awesome source to make sales. It's also the most expensive. It's the most expensive way to make sales. If you've got some money budgeted to put into direct mail, it makes sense to do it. Here's how your numbers are going to work with direct mail. For every direct mail piece that you send out, you're going to get back in return less than 1% will turn into leads. So less than one, even 0.75%. So if you send out, let's do a 50,000 piece direct mail campaign. 50,000 times 0.75%, you're going to get hold on, my calculator is not cooperating. 0.075. 375 leads. Doesn't seem to be a lot, does it? 50,000 direct mail pieces will get you 375 estimates. And your direct mail is going to end up costing you, it could be in the neighborhood of 50, 60, 70 cents a piece. You you always want to have an offer on there. You want to make it look nice. But the return isn't always huge. So if you get 0.75% back, you get 375 leads, you're going to close these at 70%. That's 260 sales. 262 sales. So you can tell it works. It's just expensive, and you have to float the money out there to make it happen. 300 what? Oh, hold on. 50,000 pieces times 60 cents each. It's $30,000 to get about roughly $131,000 in business. If you can parlay this into a prepay situation where you're offering a significant prepaid discount, you can probably float it. But it's an investment to make, but it's definitely a source that's going to make you some sales. My questions are not coming in order. That's why I keep kind of going back up for some reason. I don't know why they're that. The dinosaur jokes. Hey, Mike, by the way, Saturday, hockey's back on, and I'm sorry that your team is going to have to lose Saturday night. Just wanted to throw that in there. Ricky, your question about printed materials. Printed materials are on you. I can't really supply you with any printed materials. I could help you write something, or you could talk to some of the other dealers as to what they want to do. Go look in the collateral section of the website. There's lots of good stuff. Feel free to plagiarize as much as you want. Go to town. Carl, hey, what's going on? No, that's not $208 per customer. I did it probably on 400. So 262 times 400 is 104,000. It's going to depend a lot on your market. Hopefully you can get more than 400. If you can get $500 per customer, if you're in a market where your lawn sizes are bigger, and you can get $500 per customer, it's 131,000. I guess that's what I did the math on the first time. So it's not cheap again, but it's going to generate significant revenue. It's going to generate significant revenue. Ouch is right, but it works, man. I think I've told you the story of 2007 when I sent out 500,000 pieces of direct mail. That is 500,000 right around St. Patrick's Day, and it snowed, unexpectedly snowed. And we got about 0.1% back. So you do the math. 500,000 times 50 cents a piece. That's $250,000 of direct mail that didn't work. That was scary. So let's add them up here for a minute. Hey, we're at our sales goal already. Almost. It's at 427. So the point here is that if you don't want to make that much of an investment in direct mail, you can lower it down. You know, and this is going to take you more than the 15 minutes or so or 20 minutes that we're going to spend on it now. But I hope I can give you a decent way to do this planning. You have to do it. Again, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't set up a goal. Tina, you're bringing up a good point about your list. You would want to buy a list. This is not, when you're doing direct mail, you can contact a direct mail company, or you can do it yourself too. But what you would do is you'd contact a list company that's going to provide you with the homes that you want to reach. So you're going to take a general area, whether it's by zip code or usually by zip code, and then you're going to build in demographics. You're going to say, I want a direct mail piece to go to every homeowner with an income of more than $65,000 per year who owns a house that's valued at more than $250,000 per year. You can really drill down your list pretty nicely. So the better your list is, the more the better response you're going to get. So if you're sending out direct mail pieces to condos and apartments, you're going to get a real crummy response. But if you have a good list and you're sending it to a good demographic, you're going to get a better response. So in your case, it's not necessarily just going to send it to your own list. You're going to talk to a list company that's going to be able to put together a great demographic for what you need to sell. So yeah, to answer the question is a really good one. Would you get a list that's specific to energy conscious people, people living with kids, pets, instead of investing in a large random list? Yes, I would try to drill it down to a good demographic. I've always been of the opinion that, and some of you guys disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I think you want to market your service to the masses. You don't want to just market it to people who are apt to be organic, because I think at that point you're going to alienate some of the regular people. I think you should promote your lawn care service as one that happens to specialize in organics, not as an organic lawn care company. So what we want to throw out there is an offer to the masses, not just to people who are interested in organic. But so I think what you'd have to do is drill it down to home value and to income, and a list company can do that. Now, let me talk about something else here for a second. The Postal Service, the post office, has who's struggling a little bit, right? Not necessarily doing very well. They've got this every door direct mail where they'll actually print, design, and deliver direct mail for like 40 cents per piece or something. It's very inexpensive. The problem with that is you're not able to take out condos and apartments and low income or renters or things like that. So you have to weigh the value back and forth. I do think direct mail is certainly something that should be a part of what you do. I think it should fit into your campaign. I really do. Maybe not for 50,000 pieces. That's a big investment. But again, it's going to make you 262 sales. If you cut this in half or more than half. But again, here's your numbers. 0.75% return. You're going to close those sales at about 70%. You're going to have to follow up on them and do a good job, but I do think it should fit in. Okay, I'm going to look through these questions again, and they're out of order. It looks like I've got quite a few. David, hey, how you doing? Good. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't even know David Montgomery had mentioned the direct the U.S. Postal Service delivery, direct every door delivery, I think it's called. Looking at direct delivery mail through the post office, you can pick delivery by delivery route, really targeted and not expensive. That's right. They can do it by carrier route, which means it's even drilled down further than just than zip code. Yeah, I'm fired up too, Frank. Good question, Kyle. Which offer works best? Over the years, we tried lots of different offers. Whether it is a extra application at no charge, it's the old free line, the old half price first application. TruGreen's been doing $15.99 first app, no matter what size your lawn. There's so many different things. I think I'm going to pick something that works specifically for what you want to do. You don't want to give away too much, but you got to give away something. You absolutely have to give away something. Have I ever heard of lawn mail? I haven't. I haven't. What is that, Carl? If you don't mind, if you maybe you can type something in there. I've never heard of lawn mail. Sounds like it could be a marketing company, a lawn care marketing service of some sort, referral thing. All right. I'll look into it. For some reason, my questions are way out of order, and it's freaking me out. I'm not the smartest guy we've ever run into, and I'm having a hard time following. So if you've asked a question and I'm missing it, ask it again, and maybe I'll see it. But all my questions are jumping into a million different spots. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Whoop. Can somebody type something in right now? I just want to see where it's gonna end up. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with my questions, but I'll keep going. Actually, it's really ticking me off. I almost said a bad word there. Cancel mail and reject mail. Let's get back to this. I'm gonna wipe everything out, start over. Cancel mail and reject mail. What we used to do for that is, in addition to actually calling all of our cancels and rejects or pre-calls, we'd actually print off an estimate and just put it in the mail. Literally just put it in the mail, and we'd always get 1% back. We'd send them an offer, we'd get 1% back every single time. Not too bad. So if you have, I forget what we said up there, but say you've got 200 leads, two sales, right? Reject 500, 5 sales every time. Has anybody ever thought about doing a door knocking campaign? You can. I've got numbers that can make it happen. It's a little bit more difficult to manage. I've closed all the questions by accident, you guys. I'm sorry, and now I can't seem to get it back up. How about the chat feature? Maybe type something in there. It might be easier for me to see. But door knocking is something that the big companies started doing in the last couple of years, and they've done very well. When telemarketing was kind of eliminated, they went out and did telemarketing in real life and did fairly well. Saw truck. You should always keep this as a source code for every sale. Anytime somebody calls in and says, hey, I saw your truck in my neighborhood and I want to get an estimate, make sure you code it that way, saw truck, because what you do one year, you're going to be able to get done the next year. It's going to automatically happen. These are free leads that are going to happen all the time, and they're going to close at a very high rate. So you'd be surprised at how many times that happens. Say you get 50 leads, somebody calls in and says, I saw your truck, you're going to close them at least 70%. It's an extra 35 sales. Just there it is. Landscaper is not a code that is going to work very well because most of you are landscapers, but if you can get in touch with other landscapers in your market and say, hey, I want to work with you, I want to be the fertilizer company for for your customers, and get them to refer all of their potential fertilization accounts to you. We used to make lots of sales that way. It's a little bit tricky for some of you guys because most of them are your competitors, so this might not work as well as you'd like it to. AdWords, lots of people have done AdWords in the past. It can get expensive, but it would definitely work. Make sure that you manage it appropriately because it can kind of skyrocket out of control. Google AdWords. Search, internet search, people just landing on your website, and we're going to go over to the new website in a minute to show you how that's going to work, and it would work well with AdWords too. Telemarketing, there's certainly a place for telemarketing too. If you can get people to accept an estimate through telemarketing, most or a lot of people are still on the federal do not call list, but a lot have also come off it. We used to close telemarketed leads at 20%. So if you could generate you can generate a lot of leads through telemarketing. Generate 1,000 leads, 20%, 200 sales. They add up fast. Now, I think you guys are basically getting the gist of where I'm going here. You have to build this plan, and then you have to implement the plan. Home shows, lots of guys are doing home shows. If you generate a few leads and you'll probably close them at a pretty good closing percent. You'll do all right there too. I've always been a little bit afraid of home shows. We talked about this last week because you get so many people from so many areas, but if it works for you, go for it. Driveway packet. I knew a company in Pennsylvania who I closed all my questions, and I'm really mad right now. So if you're asking questions, I can't see it. They're back. I got them back. Company in Pennsylvania used to put together like swag, pens or magnets, couple of maybe a handout, and they would literally drive around and throw a driveway pack, just throw it out the window on people's driveways. They'd throw hundreds of thousands of these things. They would throw them like crazy, and they would generate lots of sales. There was an occasional angry call about it, but I'm telling you, they made a lot of sales doing it that way. The new homeowner ad. Does anybody remember? I was looking for this before the conference call. Last year, we had found a great source of new homeowner information. I think Chris Paul came up with it. Does anybody remember where that came from? It was an absolutely inexpensive method to get new homeowner leads, and I couldn't find it. I'm going to go back and look for it. But new homeowners are obviously, looking to do improvements at their homes. And they're very much a great source of new sales. Print ads. I'm not a big fan of print ads at all. Is Andrew Newland on the call? Andrew Newland out in Colorado was telling me that he gets great results from print ads, and he's going to do a lot of it this year. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I would make a huge investment in print ads. You may be able to generate some leads. A print ad campaign is something that's going to have to, you're really going to need to make an investment over the course of 6 months on. You're not going to want to just do one ad and expect to get a huge result from it. A 6-month ad campaign in a local magazine might generate some sales, but I believe it was Chris Paul again who told me he spent, $25,000 on print ads last year and got nothing from it. So I'm not sure I'd go with the print ads. Why do you guys use Service Magic? And we used to generate some significant leads through Service Magic. It's not a major lead source, but it definitely could work. Email blast. Now this is something I wanted to bring up. Anybody ever do anything with email blast? Obviously, you want to, every time you ever talk to a potential customer, get their email address. You need to get this in your database at all times. But I've been doing some research and trying to find residential opt-in emails because I think it would fit really nicely with our new consumer-based website. And I talked to a company, and they told me this. Consumer emails. You can buy up to 25,000 emails as little as 6 cents per piece. Now, I'm working on trying to beat them up a little bit more, but I want to spend a couple minutes on how I think this would work, because I think this is something that is something we want to take a look at. So let's say you bought 25,000 emails at 6 cents per piece. It's $1,500. It's not a major investment at all. That's actually unbelievably inexpensive. I'd buy 50,000 of them. 50,000 times 5 cents per piece, $2,500. That just seems so inexpensive to me. So I won't read all this, but he says that you'll get a 10 to 20% bounce rate. So 20% of them might bounce back. But what I want to do, or what you could potentially do, is use this. And again, this isn't done yet, and I know I'm still working on it. I want to get it done. But if with the My Lawn Quote platform, as it's worked into our new BeeSafe site here, I think you could do an email blast with links to your profile page right here. I'm going to click on what it's going to look like. For those of you who haven't signed up for My Lawn Quote yet, I'm going to ask you again to do so, because it's going to have so much. Hey, come on, Luke. He's probably working on it right now. Try it one more time. Nope. Let's do this then. World's worst conference call this week, or what? So for those of you who haven't signed up for this yet, I want you to. And Luke is giving us a half-price discount. When you log in or when you sign up for this, use the words "Go BeeSafe" and you'll get it for half price. This is going to have a lot to do with the new consumer-based website. I'll go as far as saying if you sign up or you give me the okay to do it, I will get it set up for you. I know you guys are so busy and it's difficult to find some time to do it, to make it work. I will actually set it up for you. If you tell me, send me an email or text me or call or whatever, give me the go-ahead. I don't want to spend your money. That's why I'm not automatically doing it. But I think that it's something that you absolutely need to do. Costs you $300 per year, and I think it's going to generate a lot of sales for you. So say you send out an email blast that says, click on this link to get your own estimate, or how it works, I don't know, we'll figure it out. The homeowner actually goes in, finds their house, creates their own measurement, and I can hear lots of you guys saying, well, what about if they make a bad measurement? Nothing's perfect. You might want to put something in the terms and conditions that if it's off, you have the right to adjust it. I've always been a big fan of quantity over quality, and it won't be off by that bad. So if you do an email blast to 50,000 people with the ability for them to actually go in, do their own estimate, and sign up by themselves, I think you're going to generate a lot of sales. Now, we don't have any historical data on that, but I think it's going to work very well. I have a million questions that I can't tell which is new and which is not because I can't figure it out. So I'm not going to answer them. If you haven't signed up for My Lawn Quote yet, give me the okay, and I'll set it up for you, and we'll make it work. Let me try this one more time and see if it works. So I should be able to get this done this week. That's what I said last week. That's what I said the week before, but it's close. And I encourage you to to steal as much information from it as you possibly can. Plagiarize. Okay, here we go. It worked. So if you send out an email blast with a link to this page, right? It's going to be your profile. Follow along with me here. I'm sorry I'm rambling a little bit and I've got some technical difficulties, but an email blast with a link to this, homeowner or consumer opens it, looks at your description, your business description, says, wow, right here, get a real-time quote. They click on that. They open it up. Very quickly, they do their own estimate. And again, I know nothing's ever perfect, but this is just quantity over quality. And most of them will be close. Whoops, all done. Let's continue. You're going to be signing people up without ever talking to them. And that's okay. You're going to be making sales 24 hours a day. So going back to this email list, I'll get something back out to you guys if I can get a bigger discount. I think it's a good investment to make. I think it would definitely be worth it. I think it's something that you should do, and we can integrate it right into doing this. This is not something that that a lot of companies are doing. This is pretty cool. This is pretty technologically advanced, and I think we'll do well with it. Back to our marketing plan, which we kind of are all over the place with. We're up to 1,000 sales, so you can make 1,000 sales here. Email blast along with the new website and My Lawn Quote. Who knows? I would say you send out 40,000 emails, and it doesn't mean you only do it once. You can do it over the course of of the whole spring. If you can generate, oh gosh, I don't even know. I'd have to think. If you get 1% click through, and you could send, say, 40,000. That's 400 leads. And who knows how many people will sign up? We don't have any historical data. I don't know. I just know that I think it would be quite a few. Event marketing is something that a lot of people have started to do. If you can sponsor something, or you can hold some sort of event in association with a farmer's market or another company in your area, you can generate leads. Radio advertising is going to be more expensive, but if you cover a wide range, it's certainly worth it. Flyering is the same thing as not the same thing as door knocking, but flyering is door hanging, just going up and down neighborhoods and actually putting your information on people's doors. You can get a lot of estimates that way. Neighborhood production postcard, we used to send out a postcard in association with every application we ever did. Most software will allow you to do it. I know Real Green makes it real easy, and you say, hey, we just treated your neighbor's lawn across the street. Call us for an estimate. Television, I don't think most of us are going to do television advertising and others. So I know I started off strong and fell apart halfway through, but as you can see, the more actual lead sources that you put together, the more sales you're going to make. And you could probably do it on a little bit of a lower budget. So, all right, I've been talking for an hour. I got a million questions that I don't know if I can get to. Does anybody want to ask a question right now that it might pop up so I can see it? Tina, the Frisbee marketing campaign is something that isn't all that crazy. And the same company that did the driveway packet 1 year bought something like 5,000 Frisbees and threw them in people's yards. And they made a lot of sales with it. They got a lot of calls from people saying, why are you throwing crap in my yard? But they still made a lot of sales with it. This company called Green Lawn Fertilizing, and they're in the greater Philadelphia market. They grew very quickly doing some pretty crazy things, and it worked very well. David Hirschberg, thank you for mentioning that. We do Service Magic and have about a 30 to 50% close rate depending on the service. Service Magic is a great source of leads. So if you aren't a member of Service Magic, I absolutely suggest that you sign up, and maybe we can get get some more data on how many leads that you could potentially generate over the course of a year. But we made some sales using it. We absolutely made some sales using Service Magic. David, it sounds like you guys did too. And you'll close them at a pretty good rate. Yeah, 50% closing rate is pretty good. Okay. How about billboards? Our applicator in Delaware, the Roths, did a pretty good, pretty significant billboard campaign. And I'll have to get with them. I don't think any of them are on the call today. I'll have to get with them to find out exactly what kind of response they got. I'll find out and let you guys know next week. But they did they did something like 11 billboards around their market. Then you'd think that they would have gotten quite a couple of calls, quite a few calls on it, and I think they did. Door hangers, I think we talked about that a little bit. Standard soil test as an offer. Christy, great idea. If you offer a free soil test, people love that kind of stuff. That's a great offer, a free standard soil test when they sign up. I think we did that 1 year and just stuck the pH tester in the ground and called that a soil test. That's not exactly the most honest way to do things, but people like free stuff. They absolutely like free stuff. Billboards. Christy also mentions Alex, who does a lot of our videos, and he does some design work. If you guys want some help with that, Christy mentions Alex did a nice advertisement for her. He's pretty good at that, and he's pretty cheap. So if you want his contact information, I'll get it for you. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to try to get this question thing squared away with 30-something people on the line. There's so many questions. I got to make sure I can get them in order. So I apologize for a little bit of disorganization. I'm trying to do the call and watch the questions at the same time, and they were so jumbled. I'll make sure I get it squared away for next week. But if there are no other questions, I'll wrap it up. I know we've been at it for an hour. I know you guys got lots to do. And remember, it's all about sales this time of year. If you don't have your sales plan done yet, hopefully what we did today will help you. So remember, determine how many customers you have, determine your revenue per customer, determine how much revenue you want to do, determine how many cancels you're going to take, determine how many sales that you actually need to make. Put this number down right here. Oh, watch this. I found a new tool on here the other day. Put this number down right here and then fill it in here. And I can help you with the closing percent, the lead generation, and hopefully this call helped you a little bit trying to figure that out. And put it together and make it happen. This is the time of year where it's you've got to make sure your plan is finalized and it's time to implement it. Maybe next week we'll talk about actually spreading out those leads and sales over the course of the next 4 or 5 months and how to track it. Tracking is as important as the plan. Remember, plan, implement, adjust, because you're going to have a plan. You're going to implement your plan. Your plan is going to go wrong. It will go wrong all the time. It'll never work out the way you thought it would work out, and you're going to have to adjust your plan. So tracking is so important. We'll work on that next year too, next week too. All right, guys. My lawn quote too. If you want to do the My Lawn Quote thing, but you don't have the time to actually go in and set it up, give me the go-ahead, and I'll set it up for you. And if you're going to go ahead and sign up, use the code BEESAFE to get that half-price discount. All right, guys. Thanks for the call, and we'll talk to you again next week.